And we are rolling on the 13th day of October, where it's a beautiful sunny day in Los Angeles at UCLA. The sunshine is shining, and we're about to hear Stacy share with us a film that really moved her.
Hi, I'm Stacy.
Hi, Stacy.
So, a few months ago, my boyfriend forced me to watch the movie Gladiator, and I didn't really know much about the movie, just that it was probably going to be one of those action-packed, gory, typical guy films. And I wasn't really thrilled about having to watch it. However, the movie really surprised me, and I actually ended up really liking it and connecting to it emotionally. So today, I'd want to tell you about a film that moved me, Gladiator. It made me feel sentimental, it made me feel angry, and it made me feel hopeful and empowered. Now, this film deals with some significant themes that I know you guys will be interested in. According to Rolling Stone, Gladiator sweeps you up in an action. And I agree with this. It tells a story of a Roman general, Maximus, who is betrayed and his family murdered by the emperor's corrupt son. And Maximus, reduced to slavery, has to fight through the ranks and persevere and gain back Rome's glory. To begin with, this film made me feel sentimental. The incident in the film that made me feel sentimental was when Maximus, he had been away at war for 3 years, was telling his friend about what his home was like. And he talks about a simple house in the hills with a kitchen that smelled of herbs in the day and a nice garden out back, and how all he really wants to do is just go back and go home to his family. This incident made me feel sentimental because it reminds me of my home. My mom was always in the kitchen baking, making the whole house smell delicious. My dad is usually outside working in the garden. And since moving to UCLA a few years ago, I haven't really been home as much as I want to, so I can really relate to Maximus' strong desire to go home and just be with his family. The second way this film moved me was it made me feel angry. The incident in the movie that made me feel this way was when the emperor's corrupt son, Commodus, challenges Maximus to a duel. However, he throws the fight by stabbing Maximus in the side right before the duel starts to ensure that he could win. Now, this incident made me feel angry because it reminds me of when I used to do gymnastics. I had this one coach who was not very good. We'd all be working really hard on our routines for the upcoming competition, doing them over and over again. But I had this one coach who decided that she'd just coach her favorite gymnast and forget about the rest of us. And this made me kind of feel like she was throwing the fight or the competition in a way, because she basically ensured that only the gymnasts she coached would be the ones who'd do well in the competition, and this is something that really frustrated me. So the third way this film moved me was it made me feel hopeful and empowered. The incident in the film that made me feel this way was when, during the same fight with Commodus and Maximus, even though he was been stabbed in the side, he really dug down deep to find the motivation and willpower, and actually ends up being able to stab Commodus in the neck, killing him. However, Maximus is still hurt badly, and with his dying breath, he uses it to reinstate the uncorrupt senators for Rome, and he says, there was a dream that was once Rome. It shall be realized. And so it really shows that even though he was a slave, he was able to, despite all adversity, work his way up and really make an impact on Rome and restore it to its uncorrupt glory. And this incident reminds me of the time that I was struggling in high school, and I was doing really bad in high school, and I just was really demotivated, didn't want to do anything school related. And it had gotten to the point that I was doing so bad that I felt like it was pointless to try to change anything. But somehow, Just like Maximus, I dug down deep and found the motivation of willpower, and I dug myself out of that hole. And now here I am at UCLA about to graduate. So in summary, this film moved me in 3 ways. It made me feel sentimental, it made me feel angry, and it made me feel hopeful and empowered. Even though it's your typical action-packed guy film, it does have a lot of gory scenes. I actually found that I really liked this movie, and even though I didn't want to watch it, it actually turned out to be one of my favorite movies. So I encourage you all to watch Gladiator and see what it has in store for you. Thank you.
So 14, thank you. Let's start in the back today. Yes, please. Some lighting.
Hi, I'm Allie.
Hi, Allie.
I really liked how simple your speech was. It was very easy to follow. It was like you followed the prompt like really well, and like I didn't get lost in it or anything. So.
I really liked this. Hi, Lily.
Hi, Lily.
The speech also. I liked how at the end you kind of brought it back and you reiterated the 3 things that you learned from the movie. It helped kind of bring it together. I didn't really find many problems with it. There were some here and there, but I think we all do that. Great speech also.
Okay. Thank you. I like your speech. Very likable speaker, Stacy. Remember not to wear white. You're
Sorry.
You're a face among the white backdrop. I liked your introduction, telling us that your boyfriend made you watch it, and then you tied back to that. And sometimes that, sometimes when we reluctantly are forced to watch films and they turn out to be sort of these pleasant surprises that we didn't expect. So this was true in this case, and so that was a interesting introduction that you had. You shared 3 emotions with us: sentimental, angry, made me feel sentimental, angry, hopeful, and empowered. Remember to date the day of your film review. So Rolling Stone in 2016 said this. Otherwise, the significant statement was good. You sold it to the audience. On the sentimental, what I'm most interested in is a little shorter in the plot summary, and I felt that you portrayed the sentimentality of your mom baking and your dad gardening, and you haven't been able to go home, but return to the emotion at the end of the segment saying, that's why I feel sentimental, okay? But besides sentimental, this movie also made me feel angry. So make your narrative more running and apparent. See? So, stabbed, insured, he wins. You told us about gymnastics. Danny, was this the evil coach? Yeah. Just like parents shouldn't play favorites. I don't think this should happen either. But you put it together. What you didn't do was return to the emotion of just how angry this made you felt every time you were ignored, and you wanted to relive and re-feel that emotion you felt in, was this high school?
A little bit before that.
A little before high school, and remember the emotion you felt and relive it, re-feel it, so we'll feel it that strongly too. Hopeful and empowered. Again, a little long. I'd like to see if you can move 3 times. That will help you relax a little bit. Remember to move 3 times. And here we had you tell us about you reached a rough patch in high school Was it high school?
Yeah.
And you didn't want to do anything, but you somehow dug deep down inside and found the motivation and made it to UCLA, and you're about to graduate. And so you gave us a happy ending. And again, returned to the, and that's why I felt empowered. Summary was fine, conclusion was fine, and tieback was fine. Remember to always list your canais, your 3 goals. Remember that there's a little spot at the bottom of the prompt.
Oh, I did on the introduction when I forgot to do it. This
Okay, yeah. What were your goals?
One of them was to move 3 times, which
Okay.
I obviously didn't do.
Okay.
Less hand gestures and not stumble as much.
Okay. Let's talk about your concern about your hand gestures. Do you feel that you're waving all over the place too much, or what's your
I think the
concern?
first speech I was a little bit, but this one was better.
Okay. What I want to say is I don't say too much about it because when I do, people end up, holding to the side and not gesturing at all, and that's not good. So thank you for volunteering and getting it done and sharing a good movie with us. Thank you very much. Any more volunteers? Yeah, care for the volunteer. Yeah. Leslie stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name. Feel the love. Say your speech.
Hi, my name is Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
So I don't think anyone is too old to watch Disney movies. Put on a Disney movie for me and I'll be happy. Maybe because underneath it all I'm still a kid, or maybe because the best lessons I've learned in life have been through watching Disney movies. Today I want to share with you guys the film that really moved me. This film is Utopia. It made me feel inspired. In moments it was bittersweet, and in other moments I felt very excited. According to Gary Goldstein in the Los Angeles Times, it has very good voice written. It's a funny movie, and it's just a very interesting movie to watch, and I completely agree with him. So the first way this movie moved me is it made me feel inspired. The moment where I felt like this was when Judy Hopps, oh, my bad, sorry, a little background information on the movie. The movie is about a little rabbit called Judy Hopps, and her biggest dream is to become a police officer. But everyone around her, they don't believe in her, they don't think she can actually accomplish her dream. So it made me feel inspired because she was still a little rabbit, and she was in a play, and she was saying how any animal could become whatever they wanted in life. And she said she wanted to make the world a better place, and she wanted to become a police officer. People in the audience, animals in the audience laughed, and they didn't believe in her. So I really resonated with this scene because my brother is a motorcycle rider, and when he took me on my first motorcycle ride, I fell in love. I wanted to become a rider too. I remember coming home to my mom and telling her, and she told me I was crazy, that it was dangerous, and that she didn't think I could handle it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe because I'm a girl or what it is. And even though now I plan to commute for the next 3 years here at UCLA, and if you ride a motorcycle, you get free parking. So she likes that idea, so I think now she's on board. But other than that, whoever I would tell, they would tell me I was crazy, I should just stick to driving a car. And I know what it feels like to really want something so bad, and everyone else tell you that you can't do it or that you shouldn't do it. So it made me feel inspired because Judy Hopps, even as a little rabbit, she didn't let anyone stop her from her dream, and she still kept going. So it makes me feel like I shouldn't let anyone else stop me and tell me what to do. I should just go on and become a writer. So the second way this movie moved me was that it was, in this moment, it was a little bittersweet. Judy Hopps is going to move to Zootopia to become an officer, and her whole family's there, her parents, her siblings, they're all like waiting for her to board the train. And as she goes onto the train, she looks at her family, she runs back, hugs her parents, kisses them, and tells them she loves them. And then it reminded me of when my parents dropped me off here at UCLA. And I remember my parents hugging me, and they were like about to leave. My cousins were there, my aunt. And as they were pulling away from the parking lot, they had the windows rolled down, and they were telling me good luck, that they loved me, and that they were going to miss me. And it was just so bittersweet because I was so happy to be here. I'm starting a new chapter in my life, never been away from home, and it was just so exciting. But seeing my parents pull away, it was sad. So it was just a very bittersweet moment. The third way this movie moved me was, it made me feel a little excited. I remember seeing where Judy Hopps, it's her first day at work, and she walks into the roll call, and she notices everyone around her, they're like bigger than her. There's rhinos and elephants and tigers, and she's the littlest one, and she's the only girl. And she goes into the seat, and she tries to spark up a conversation with the rhino, but he's not having it. He kind of like pushes her away, and she's just so excited because her dreams came true. So this reminded me of when I took my first riding course. I had never been on a motorcycle, like other than as a passenger. Didn't know how it worked, so I was just so excited. I walk into the class, and everyone else there were mostly guys, and I was the youngest one. And everyone else there already knew how to ride, or they already owned motorcycles. And I was just so excited because I was just there to learn. So I would try to talk to people, but they weren't as excited as I was. So I know what it feels like to be very excited to finally do something for the first time. So in conclusion, this movie really moved me. It inspired me, it was bittersweet, and it was just very exciting. It's just an overall great movie. That's why I love Disney movies, because in your own way you can relate to them and you can apply them to your life and learn. They have great lessons. I learned that if Judy Hopps, she didn't give up on her dream and she became a police officer, it makes me not want to give up on mine, and one day I will become a writer. Hopefully soon. Thank you.
$4.15.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
And I really liked your speech. I really liked how you really applied your, what you saw in the movie into how it applied to your own life, and you made it seem that there was a real connection between those two. And I really liked that about your speech.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Improvement.
Hi, I'm Caroline.
Hi, Caroline.
Leslie, your speech was really good, and I have a really hard time finding something you need to work on. I would just say maybe at the end, at your intro, you talked about how Disney movies can still teach us all. Maybe at the end, tie it back to, oh, this is a Disney movie, and it was still able to move me even though I'm 18 or 19, however old you are. So I just think you should tie that back in. But that was really good.
Yes, that's a good suggestion, Leslie, that she had. You started off with reference to the Disney movie, saying either you're a kid or you learned your best lesson from Disney movie. I happen to agree. They're very universal in their appeal. They appeal to children, but they also have universal themes that adults get a lot out of too. So a tie back to that would have been helpful. Your thesis preview was fine. You jumped around a little on your SIG statement. That's okay, no big deal. I remember the date of your review, so it uses 2016, and you did agree with your author, so that was fine. I'd like to see you move 3 times so that you can relax a little and not be quite so tense when you're up there. So the first emotion that you wanted us to feel, and you tried to felt sense, was this feeling of being inspired. And you sort of got this interestingly out of order, but you told the story basically that you're excited about wanting to ride a motorcycle like your brother does, and your mother sort of getting behind it a little bit. just remember, as I've been saying to others, come back to the emotion, so it's real clear what the audience, what emotion you're re-feeling, re-sensing. And that's why I felt inspired. But besides feeling inspired, I also felt bittersweet. So, nice little transition there. Your plot summary can be a little shorter, but it was short enough. And then you told the great story of being dropped off at school and you're feeling bittersweet. Everyone's waving at you. Your mother made you a care package, and it was very sad for some people, and you were happy but sad too. You know, I think I mentioned before, when I dropped my daughter off at college, I got about a block away and cried like a baby. You know, it was awful. It was awful. But these are feelings of separation that you have to go through when you have parents and children, and so you correctly identified that as bittersweet, and that was fine. On the excited, the third emotion, again, I would have liked to have had a transition. Besides bittersweet, I felt excited. You talked a little bit about the plot summary, and then you went to a class, and you were excited, but they weren't, which is sort of interesting. Your summary was fine, your conclusion was fine, and your tie back didn't go back completely vividly enough to the Disney and the great lessons, and you mentioned then the writer thing in there, and you had a good citation at the end of your now, the other thing I don't see is, do you have your canais here somewhere? Your goals? What your goals are? They on the self-evaluation? Are they on
Yeah.
the top or?
I set my eye contact because last time that was kind of
Okay, so they're under number 3 here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
and to move, but I didn't do that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say you move now. Tell us about your morning. Let's see if you know how to move.
Do I
Go
move first,
3
or-
steps to the right, 5 steps to the left, and then
Okay.
yeah, not scissor steps. Come back to the center. Yeah, okay. So tell us about your morning.
So today I woke up around 7:30 to head to my discussion
No.
for linguistics.
Work on that. Work
Oh,
this side of the
oh, okay.
room. Yeah, but
And,
glance over there. Yeah.
Linguistics was really good last week. I thought I had it down, but we had a quiz today, and I was just like, did really bad. So I think I did bad. I hope I didn't, but it was okay. And after that, I had a little break, and then I had my PLF for linguistics, which I find I'm excited to have a PLF, but I have it after my discussion, and we have a quiz every discussion, so it's kind of like, oh, really? I wish I could have it before. But and now I'm here, and
Okay.
I speech.
Had I had the camera on your legs, let me tell you what happened when you went over here. You didn't come and stop in the power stance. You had your feet together. So stop in the power stance. And then you did scissor steps back to the center. So just take a step to the right, left, right, and get back to the center. And always keep yourself cheated forward. Don't turn your body to the right when you're walking over that way. Keep it cheated forward. Other than that, Leslie, very nice job. Thank you. Do we have another volunteer?
Oh, hold on. Let me get my phone.
I hear someone stirring.
This is from the study buddy speech. This is
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, if I see that you wrote in your goals, that's good. If you don't have your goals, write them in now before you come up so that you do have them. And secondly, if you have if you forgot the bibliography or forgot to put in the date in your significance statement, add it in now so you remember to say it. Okay, you're a little taller, aren't you? There we go. Okay. Yeah. You're kind of wearing white too, huh? Okay. Is it Michaela? Michaela stands before you managing attention, communicating, respect, non-verbally, saying to herself, I respect my audience. Really meaning it. Fighting friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love, start your seat.
Hi, I'm Michaela.
Hi, Michaela.
And today I'd like to share with you my film review of the movie Pretty Woman. A hooker, a businessman, and quite a few costume changes. These are just a few important elements of the movie that I'd like to share with you today. The 1990s film Pretty Woman, starring Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. This film was really interesting and intriguing to me, and some of the things that really moved me in this film were how it made me feel intrigued, how it made me laugh, and also how it inspired me. So the first way that this film moved me was that it made me feel intrigued. In one of the first scenes of the film, Julia Roberts, whose main character's name is Vivian, walks into a store well, she's actually a prostitute from West Hollywood, and so she's walking around Beverly Hills, shopping around, trying to find new outfits as she's spending a week with her client in Los Angeles during his business trip. So she's shopping around in Beverly Hills on Rodeo Drive, trying to find some new classy outfits, and she ends up being rejected from a store because people judged her for her appearance and how she was dressed, because she was dressed kind of like she looked like a prostitute. And so later in that next scene, she walks in with a very elegant outfit, and she looks very confident and walks into the same store and kind of snides the clerks who refused to serve her before, saying that image isn't really important. And some of the ways that I related to this was that in my life, a lot of times people will be judgmental, but I just don't really care what they think. And I related to the main character in this way, in that it doesn't matter who you are or how you look. You just have to be yourself and be you and not expect anything else from anyone else. And the second way that this film moved me was that it made me laugh. In one of the scenes, the main character, Vivian, is in the jacuzzi at the hotel, and she has her headphones on, listening to one of her favorite songs, and it's just lip-syncing and singing really out of key, and it's just dancing around and having a good time. And it reminded me of many times in high school where I was with my friends, and we would just be driving in the car, singing along some of our favorite childhood songs, just without a care in the world, having a great time and living in the moment. The third way that this film moved me was that it inspired me. In the final scene of this movie, Vivian, who's the main female character in the movie, is greeted by her new love interest, Edward, and she had previously told him of a cliche type of dream of hers that she just wanted to be rescued and taken away from her life. And so, as he's returning back to New York from his business trip, he comes to her apartment and rescues her, and then he asks her, well, now what happens? And she goes, I rescue you right back. And I really related to this personally because I really relate to Vivian, the main character's kind of really bold and strong personality, and it just felt like it was so inspiring to see a female character in this 1990s film where she was just so strong and had such bold actions and words, and I really related to that as I feel like we have similar personalities in that sort of way. And so this film was just really moving to me, and I wanted to share with it to you today in how it was intriguing to me, how it was really funny, and how it inspired me. And that is all, and I hope you enjoyed my short little film speech. Thank you.
332. Okay, where are we? Here.
I'm Alyssa.
Hi, Alyssa.
I really liked your speech, and like you gave a really good background of the film and how it related to the stories. But you were like moving around a little and like rocking back and forth. But other than that, your speech was good.
Okay. And you want to stay in the power stance with your feet. You were putting your feet together and crossing them. I didn't go down there with the camera, but yeah, stay in the power stance. If you move 3 times, that'll release some of the tension that you're feeling and relax you. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, back to center. Improvement.
Hi, I'm Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
I really liked your speech. You did a really good job of like your eye contact moving around the room. But if possible, I would just slow down a little bit next time. And you like definitely had some extra time anyway, so it was good though.
Yeah, this was a good film that you chose. It's known to all the students and really relatable to everything and everybody. So I think that was fine. The one concern that I have, and I'll come to it when I get to the main body, was I needed a little bit more of personal situations of your emotional connection, a personal story, the feelings that you had. You kept it kind of general, and that undercut the strength of your felt sensing and us getting a strong emotional connection. So that's my overarching concern. Your thesis preview was good. You skipped over the SIG statement in your movie review. Okay, so remember that it's, according to Pittman in the New York Times, it's a cloud pleaser in its 1990 review. Okay?
Okay.
So you did have it in there. Just remember to, when you practice it, make sure you have all the parts in there. On your first main feeling was you were trying to talk about being intrigued, and that's kind of a hard emotion to communicate, and the story that you told was the one we all remember from the movie of her being treated poorly because they thought she was a hooker or worse, and they wouldn't help her even though she had a, as you put it, a black MasterCard. And you said here, you said for your own personal story, you said, this reminds me of when I was younger. I had a very high level of confidence compared to my peers in some way. I related to the personality of Vivian in that she often doesn't care what other people think. That was a good general statement. Now, so for example, a good example you could have brought in there would have been really excellent if you could have brought one in. On the second one, laugh. This was your best one. I got you remembering and feeling the joy and the happiness of singing your heart out as you drove down the street with your friends, singing in a car or whatever it was. So that was a good felt sensing memory of, and that was specific, and so that was well done. Inspiring, the fairy tale, he rescues you, I rescue him right back, and here you say I related to this to inspire, mimic in a few ways, reminds me of my own. I'm stubborn, dreams can be like that, but I didn't get a specific story about why you were so inspired. I was inspired to continue to be independent and that sort of thing. Your summary was fine. Your conclusion was good. And your tie back, I would have liked you kind of lost your oomph in the very end of your speech. And so you had a great line, a hooker, a billionaire, and a few costume changes. So I maybe would have gone back to that line, a hooker, a billionaire, and a few costume changes, and then said something about closing the film and great feelings that it brought out in me or something. Your eyes, longer eye contact, be more spontaneous, and have the proper amount of hand movement. How'd it go?
I felt like I was better with the memorization aspect.
Mhm.
I think I could balance it between like the last speech and this speech a little bit better.
Okay.
And then I actually overcompensated with movement and lasting eye contact. So just kind of really finding a proper balance of all the good techniques that we've learned.
All right. Well, it says, yeah, get out of the habit of doing what you just did. Yeah, keep your feet, yeah, in the tripod state. Yeah. What I would say is your hands were fine and the eye contact was fine. My only concern was just more working on making that emotional connection with your audience by remembering the feelings you felt, re-feeling them, and sharing those with the audience. Don't be afraid to say, I felt, I feel, and say that, and then the audience feels it too. Okay? Thank you so much. Another volunteer, excellent. Just a moment. Yeah. For now, this is okay. There's another form that's a little better on the website that you can use for your self-evaluation, okay? Oh, thank you. There we go. Okay, Andrew stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect. Take a step that way. Yeah, that's good. Finding friendly eyes. Nice black shirt on a white backdrop. Very good. Finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name. Feel the love. Start your speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
And so, growing up as an Asian American, there's a big misconception that all we do is study and play Pokemon. And although there is some truth in that, there's much more than what we do is just study and play Pokemon. Growing up in a household full of basketball players and my dad being a basketball coach, I grew up surrounded by basketball, watching NBA, going to basketball games on the weekends. And so today I'll be talking about a documentary film called Insanity, which follows the life of Jeremy Lin, an Asian American basketball player from the Bay Area, who attended Harvard University after receiving no scholarship offers, and then eventually making it into the NBA and then becoming a worldwide sensation while playing on the New York Knicks. And so this film, it taught me a lot about persevering through adversity, the importance of being humble, and also being an Asian American Christian, the importance of staying to your faith throughout all of that. And so the first way to move, and also in the movie, from the film, Emmanuel Donner, the writer for the Business Examiner, stated that the film really examined the less glamorous part of being in the NBA, which really showed in the struggle that Jeremy Lin had to go through in order to make it big in New York on the Knicks. And so the first way this film moved me was that it taught me the importance of perseverance. Jeremy Lin, when he was a high school senior, he was chosen as the player of the year for the California State. and also won state championship when he was a senior. And after that, he didn't receive any scholarship offers from any colleges. He only received guaranteed admissions to Harvard and decided to go there. And after that, it was very disheartening for him, but he still fought through it and still continued to pursue his dream to play basketball. And after that, he was undrafted, no team wanted him, and he still pushed through that. And during that time, when seeing this, it reminded me of a hard time when I was transitioning from being at home to moving down to LA at school. It was a difficult time for me. It was a big change, and when it reminded me of that and how I just kept pushing through and kept working to help achieve my own goals. And that's how it reminded me, and it always inspires me to work hard and push through those hard times. The second way this film moved me was that it taught me about humility and being humble. After Lynn had his breakthrough performance with the Knicks, he played the Los Angeles Lakers, and before the game, they interviewed Kobe Bryant. They asked him, "Do you know anything about this kid?" And he said, "I already know who he is." And after beating the Lakers and showing Kobe that he can play, he can compete against the big players, he knew that a question in the interview after the game would be, "Do you think Kobe knows who you are now?" And he said, before that came up, he was saying, "Oh, I'm going to say, who the hell is Kobe?" But then he was thinking, what would Jesus do in this situation? And him being a very strong believer, he decided to just kind of pass off that question and just say, "You're going to have to ask him yourself. I'm not going to answer that." And so that really reminded me of when I was in Mexico with my dad, seeing the stuff that other people didn't have in the area I was working in. They literally had nothing, and so it reminded me of how lucky I am, and humble, and it reminded me of to always be humble of what you have and where you come from. And the final way this film moved me was that it reminded me to always stay strong in my faith. During his whole career, and even now, he's always referencing God in his work, in his interviews. And during the film, he even said, this was no coincidence. There's a whole plan behind this, and I feel that there's a lot of truth to that. And so whenever I'm feeling uncertain about my future, I'm struggling through midterms, through tests, and just stress of everything, it reminds me to step back and just remember there's a whole plan behind this, and I don't know of it yet. Just as Jeremy Lin, when he was in the NBA, he was unsure of being able to continue pursuing this goal. He never really gave up on it. He also just always reminded himself to step back and let God do the work in his life. And so this film really inspired me to work hard through the hard times, to stay humble even at your peaks, and also to stay faithful to whatever plan there is. And growing up in a basketball household with my dad being a basketball coach, both my brothers being basketball players, it shows that there's much more to Asian Americans than just studying in the library and playing Pokemon.
Thank you. 526.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
I really liked the humor in your speech. I really enjoyed how personal you got with your family history and your beliefs. So I think it was a really good speech. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Ashley. Improvement?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Michaela.
Hi, Michaela.
I really liked your speech. I thought it was really well connected, and you went through your thesis, and it was perfectly set up. One of the things I would maybe work on is a little bit more movement, not too much, and then just a little bit of change in your tone of voice. But other than that, you did a really good job.
Yeah. Let's talk about those things. I lost track of him. What did he? Is he still in the NBA, or is he out, or what happened to him?
He's still in the NBA.
He's still in the NBA. What team does he play for?
He's on the Nets, I believe.
The Nets. Great. Okay, good. So he's made a career of it, huh? Okay. Andrew. you started with the Asian American misconceptions that you study and play Pokemon. And so that was funny. And you tied back to that, and so that was good. And then you had a nice segue into your basketball player that you were going to, the documentary that you were going to share with us, Limb Sanity. So, my concern was it made me understand the true meaning of perseverance. A more humble person has shaped me into a stronger Asian American Christian. I was looking for 3 ways the film moved you, more overtly stated than what you just wrote there, but I quibble. We'll come to that as we get into your main body. On your first feeling, I guess, is preserving through adversity. And here, you have it flipped. And if, for the rest of you remember this, he had a long plot summary and a very short story told. We want a short plot summary and a long story from yourself that gets into your emotions and what you were feeling at the time, okay? This reminds me of a time when dreams were out of reach and I kept falling flat on my face, such as I did, but I didn't give up. I persevered. I kept going a little more. See, and that's why it made me feel that I could persevere. This film inspired me in that way. Then you said it taught me what truly means to be humble. Again, this is it's like a role. You're using him as a role model, but not sharing so much the feelings. And you then told the story of being in Mexico with your dad and being thankful and grateful that you have more than the people you saw there, right? But I didn't get much of a feeling there from that, see? And the last one of whom inspired me to be stronger in my faith. And here you taught. Was this Kobe, or did the Kobe come the second story? Okay, so no, this is stronger in your faith. And here again, you had a very general, when I can't feel any uncertainty, I keep in mind that there's a plan. I don't know what it is. But again, I don't get the feeling. We were supposed to be communicating, remembering feelings, communicating those, and then those emotions, we feel them too. Summary was fine, conclusion was fine, and the tie-back was perfect to the Pokemon and the stereotypical Asian family. Your kanai, move with a purpose, slowing down when speaking and knowing what to say next. How did it go?
I still felt I was kind of pacing rather than moving with a purpose.
Right. I was getting carpal tunnel syndrome following you in the camera. Just kidding. But you need to stand still when you're speaking. Move on the first way the film moved me over to here. Stay there. Second way the film moved me, stay there. And the third way, stay back in the center. What you were doing is pacing. You just kept pacing. Okay? And that became a distraction. But let me end on a positive note. I thought that you presented a good documentary in a positive light, and that was well done. So thank you. Okay, do we have another volunteer? there any more A's in the room? No more A's? Okay, is that true, or do I need to go through this list? Is there any more A's? Okay, good. Okay. Okay, well, then I would say, what's our time looking like? I'd say our work is done for the day. I want to show you another speech before you leave. Someone telling good stories. What?
Can we do the introduction speech?
Oh, we can do a few introduction speeches. Who wants to do their introduction speech? I know Michaela did. She got it. Okay, you want to do your introduction speech? Okay, let's do those. Yes. Okay.
I'm going to be like really sick next week, so like, I already feel it. Like I'm already like getting pretty sick. So it's like,
You're getting sick?
oh man, I gotta get sick.
Don't give it to me.
I'm going sick right now.
You're sick?
No, I was last week. I was getting over what he has.
Oh, what is he?
I'm on for sure. Am I on for sure? No, I gotta get this done now. So
Stapler is not working today.
speech, and it's just gonna.
Are you going first, or is it ladies first?
No, I let her have the choice.
And she chose you.
Yeah.
Great.
Take it gently.
Okay, Alexander stands before you, hands by your side, yeah. Good. In the power stance nicely. Finding friendly eyes near the front and the center, saying to himself, I respect my audience, and really means it. Finding friendly eyes near the front and the center, saying your name, feel a little love, start your speech.
Hi, I'm Alex.
Hi, Alex.
So, the first quarter and the first year of college is really tough, so I'm glad that I got a study buddy who's a fourth year. She's about to graduate, and she's kind of helped me ease into college. And like studying for midterm, studying for finals, I've heard is terrible, and I'm really not excited to do that. But I want to introduce you guys to my study buddy, Nicole. She's had a lot of interesting experiences, and she's really smart. And I say she's really smart because she actually tested out of her her last 2 years of high school and went straight to community college, and then she transferred over here, which is like insane. Like I could never do that. So I want to just highlight a couple stories from her past and her present that show how she's matured and how her way of thinking has grown. And then I want to talk to you about what her plans in the future are. So starting off with her past, just a little backstory. She grew up in Temecula with her younger brother. She's studying anthropology now. She's married, and she actually met her husband when they started dating. When they were 12 years old, which I thought was really interesting.
Wow.
And story about her past. When she first moved here, she had to go to the dentist in downtown LA, and it was her first time kind of going out downtown. So she parked in one of the parking garages, went to her dentist appointment. It took a little longer than expected, and when she came out, it was nighttime. Her phone was dead, and she realized that she didn't know where the parking garage she parked her car was. So she was walking around aimlessly trying to find her car through each parking garage, and it was getting nighttime, and she was lost and she didn't know what to do. But finally, luckily, her at that time boyfriend came and came up with the car and picked her up, and realized or he went downtown once she stopped like replying to her text just to see what she was doing, where she was, and then luckily he found her, and she realized that, or she thought like living in the city is tough, like it's weird, it's scary, and she didn't really know, like she didn't really like it, she didn't really know what to expect. But anyway, moving on to the present moment, 1 year later, just a couple weeks ago, she's now she's moved in with her husband. They're living in LA, and she realized that, or they bought 100 balloons because their dog loves balloons. And so one day when she was studying, her husband just blew up a ton of balloons and threw them around and had her dog, their dog, just go crazy and run around and pop all the balloons. And she joined in, and they spent the entire day not studying, but instead popping a bunch of balloons with their dog. And she realized that, like living in LA and being by herself, being like grown up and adulting and all this is not so scary after all, and she can kind of live with it. She can still be a child sometimes. And moving on to her future, what she wants to do, she's contemplating going on and getting her master's degree, but she does know that she wants to have a stable job with contemporary or orthodox hours, and she wants to move to a nicer part of LA with her husband, and then she doesn't really, she might go to go on and get her master's, like I said. She might take a break. She doesn't really know, but that's kind of the beauty of the future, is it's very, the possibilities are endless. She could really do anything. Anything could still happen. And so that's with all those kinds of experiences, I'm glad that like she's my study buddy. So if I have any questions about college or anything like that, or I guess anybody does, then she's a good person to ask. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my study buddy, Nicole.
Okay, great. That was 4:31. Okay, where are we? Here?
Hi, I'm Laura.
Hi, Laura.
And I really liked your stories. Like, I feel like a lot of people during their speeches kind of more list facts, but you had like real stories that were really like cute.
It's because she gave me stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I liked how you went from kind of the dark side living in the city to the fun side of Philippines, and I just really liked how those two balanced.
Yeah, that was good, and this is exactly right. This is what I was looking for, was stories and not just a bunch of unrelated factoid stuff together. Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Andre.
Hi, Andre.
I really liked your speech. It was great. It was definitely unexpected, most of the stuff you said. The only one improvement I would say is your hands was already curled up in front of you. Yeah, you kept doing that, so.
Yeah. Alex, let's talk about your speech. You gave a sort of nice shout out to your study buddy, who you essentially said is helping you along as a freshman to learn the ropes, I guess, and she's an upperclassman, so that was a nice kind of intro. I would have liked you to have somehow tied back to that in the ending and had it come a full circle. So those of you that want to learn the ropes or know more about how to study, talk to our buddy Nicole here. Your thesis preview was good. You gave a lot of inter-significant statement, a lot of unexpected facts, testing out of high school straight into a community college and here at UCLA, which was good. Help me out, where is Temecula? In Orange County, or is it north of here?
South.
It's south. It's down by Orange County. So
Halfway to San Diego.
halfway to San Diego. Okay, now I know where that is roughly. Okay. She's known her husband since she was 12. That's pretty amazing. The stories you told there of her getting lost in the parking structure and being rescued was a good story. And the 100 balloons was another good story of on a more positive note. The future, yes, you left. It's hard to get a story out of that, but master's degree and moved to a nicer section of town. The summary was fine. The conclusion, we just needed a better tie back. Your canais. Talk slower, more emphasis, and more strategically placed pauses. How'd it go?
I definitely wasn't focusing on talking slower, so I don't really know if I did that or not. But I think I put more emphasis in there, and I don't think I paused as much as I did like my first speech.
Okay.
So I think that's really
I'd like to see you try to see if you can make the effort to move 3 times next time, and doop, 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 that'll help you relax. You were a little on the long side, so work on your word economy, get those stories out a little more succinctly, but nice job. Your different heights. Yes. There we go. Nicole stands before you, managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi, my name is Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
And before I really get into introducing my study buddy, I wanted to share a word that I came across, sonder. So sonder is the realization that the people around you are living lives that are just as complex, just as intricate as your own, that they have hopes, dreams, fears just like you. And experiencing sonder really has a way of kind of shocking you out of that cynicism of daily life and kind of reigniting the passion for those around you. I really feel like this assignment was kind of an activity in that. So, on that note, I would like to introduce my study buddy, Alex. Today I'm going to tell you about his past, his present, and his future, and some corresponding stories. And I know that you're going to like meeting my study buddy because he's a really down-to-earth guy. He's really relatable, and the things he's going through right now are things that we all either have or are currently going through as well. So, past. Alex was born in Japan, and he moved to Seattle when he was 2 years old. He grew up as an only child with a middle-class family, and he developed some hobbies growing up. One of them was collecting paper money from around the world, and the other was learning languages. Right now he knows, English, Japanese, American Sign Language, and he's teaching himself Italian. So, besides these hobbies, he also really had an interest in theater and acting. And it was actually this love for acting that spurred him on to apply to UCLA after high school. And so he vividly remembers when he first found out that he was going to come here, you know. He was at his friend's house, he was sitting down, they were all around him, he had his laptop out, and he was just constantly refreshing the page, waiting for that decision. And so finally, when the page started to load, all he could say was, guys, I got in. And you know, all of his friends, they cheered, they congratulated him, and Alex just kind of sat there. He was excited, definitely, but he was also kind of disbelieving. You know, he grew up his whole life that he could remember in Seattle, you know, the city of coffee and rain. And now he was going to spend 4 years in Los Angeles, which is basically the antithesis of his home city. Present. Right now, Alex is getting adjusted to university life. He's learning how to live on his own. He's learning how to balance extracurriculars with meeting new people. And he currently, he's doing pretty well. He's doing well. He has already changed his major. He came in as pre-global studies, and now he's going to switch to pre-communication. But he's pretty sure he's going to stick with that one this time. And so, one of his memories of first being here at UCLA was meeting 4 guys in his dorm. You know, he ran into them, they introduced themselves, they all talked for a while, but they went their separate ways. Later on, however, he ran into them again, and this time they decided, hey, let's make a night out of it. And so they spent the rest of the night on Westwood, just wandering around, seeing all the new things, hearing all the new sounds, meeting even more new people. And, you know, I really think that's a great way to cement coming to a new town. Future. As pretty much all of us know, Alex doesn't really know what to expect of the future. But here's what he hopes it looks like. He hopes that after 4 years of UCLA, he graduates and he is hired by a successful business onto their marketing team. This business will allow him to travel by sending him to different corporate locations around the world, which will satisfy that urge to learn about other cultures. If he can't do that, then he's going to pick himself up and he's going to find a way on his own time and with his own money to see the world anyways. In conclusion, I have shown you guys Alex's past, how he got to be here, his present, what he's currently doing here, and his future, what he hopes to be doing. And by telling you about Alex, I really hope I've invoked a sense of Sonder into you guys. Taking time out of my day to really get to know another person, it reminded me that we can't just think of other people around us as background characters or as faceless people in a crowd. They have lives that are just as complicated and just as full as our own. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Alex.
Thank you. 431. Somewhere over the rainbow.
Hi, I'm Magali.
Hi, Magali.
I really liked your speech. I liked how you paused between, like, your whole speech. You were, like, doing very nice pauses and made me, you know, keep along. And I like how you went back to your tie-back and you went and reminded us about the whole Sonder thing, and I really like that. It just really stuck to me.
Mm-hmm. That's good, Magali. Thank you. Improvement?
Hi, my name's Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
I really like your speech. I think you did an awesome job. Maybe just, I felt like maybe you got tripped up over your words a couple times, so if you just slow down, I think that would help with that, but honestly, your speech was like almost perfect, so you're fine.
Tell me where you found the word Sonder. Is it from literature or psychological text? It's an intriguing idea. Did you make it up? Or?
I really wish I could say it was academic, but I was on Pinterest, mobile app, and I came across it.
Great. It's a great sounding word, and you tied back to it nicely, and I really appreciate you coming up with a new twist and a new phrase. That was nice. Your thesis was good. Thesis statement, your sixth statement worked. You told us about his past, speaks foreign languages, theater acting. The story you told was agonizing over whether he would get into UCLA or not, and you built up the suspense of that, and then finally he got in, and so that was a well-told story, and that's what I was after, so that was good. The present story, it changed his major from global studies to pre-communication, and went out with 4 guys that he met and made a night of it in Westwood. Pretty good story. And the future, yeah, I think that you tied that in nicely with his desire to travel, that sort of thing. It's hard to get a lot of stories out of that. Summary, remember, summary and conclusion are different things. You'll see tonight when you watch yourself on YouTube. You misspoke. You said in conclusion. It's summary. In summary, I've told you about his past, present, and his future. In conclusion, and so you want to go back to that sense of wonder, Sonder, and because it sounds like wonder, and then you could also flip this around, and then after you talk about what you did about the faceless crowd, then say, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Alex, as the very, very ending, see? And that way you don't get the premature applause either. But nice job. Good work. Thank you. Let's talk about your canals. The battery is almost gone, so we'll see if we can work it in. Better eye contact, especially not looking up. Is that what that says? Well, okay. And a little more vocal variety. How'd it go?
I did kind of catch myself looking up a few times, so that one not so well. I feel like I did use some more vocal variety this time.
Right. And work on your word economy because you're running a little long, so work on having little spots to where you know you want to be in your speech and be there. And so if you have to cut things down and speed things up so you get through the speech in the time allotted, that's good. Thank you. Okay, since we're out of batteries, I think we're going to stop for the day. So we'll pick it up again on Thursday with the bees. I mean, on Tuesday with the bees. Sorry.